In this video, I'll be sharing with you how to cut and sew a transparent corset. So if you haven't yet seen the drafting tutorial, check our previous tutorial, or I'm going to leave a link at the description box. And also, if you're having issues on how to draft a corset, you can go ahead to join us on our 5 days corset pattern drafting class, where we'll be teaching you how to cut 5 different types of corset. So to start, the first thing I'm going to make use of is my net. So I'm just making use of the normal skin net for this, and I'm combining 2 shades of net. So you can also use your original corset mesh for this. So the first thing you have to check is the grain line. So you need to check the part that is a bit stretchy and the part that is not too stretchy. So that part that is not too stretchy, that is what you'll be using to cut out your corset, so that at the waist side or by the side of your corset, it's not going to be stretching out. So I'm going to be cutting 4 layers for each pattern of my corset. So first I'll cut out 2 layers first, and then go ahead to cut out another 2 layers, making it 4 layers. I'll go ahead to pin my pattern down, and I'll be adding ½ inch at the lower part, at the upper part of the cup, and by the side I'll trace out exactly. So after cutting this, I'll go ahead to cut out another layer of mesh. So I actually cut out 4 layers, so you'll be placing it directly and cut out. So if you can't place it on fold, just go ahead to just cut it one after the other, just like I'm doing. So after cutting this, we are also going to cut out 2 extra layers for the front pattern, making it 4. So after cutting this also, I'll be opening it up, and we are going to go ahead to run a stitch on top of it. So I'll go ahead to place it after each other and make sure that it aligns very well. So you have to be patient on this part. You have to place it and make sure it aligns. Go ahead to pin it, and you'll be top stitching on each round. So now here is the back pattern, and I'm going ahead to cut it out. I added ½ inch at the lower part. I cut out exactly by the side. I added ½ inch at the upper part, and I added about 0.3 at the front part of this pattern. So I went ahead to run a stitch on it, and I'll be pinning the sides together. So when I was actually sewing on my sewing machine, the skin colored thread I was using is a bit light, so when I was sewing, the thread was cutting. So what I will do is just to go ahead to make use of the black thread I'm actually going to use to sew the dress, and I'll use it to stitch up the side. Then you'll be tracing out the excess. Make sure that what you're stitching is at the right part of your corset. So now this is what I have, and we're going to create our boning channels. So I'll mark at the center, and from the thumbnail, the corset we are recreating, we have about 2 boning channels by the side of the pattern, which is slanted. So I'll go ahead and mark this out. So after marking this out, I'll go ahead and measure what I have so that it will be the same. So at the lower part, I measured 1 inch on both sides and marked. So I measured from the center to the other side, connected, and after this I'll also take the measurement I have here and place it on this other side. So the next step I'm going to take is also to mark the boning for this side, boning channels. We have about 1 boning channel at the back only. So now here is the piece of fabric that I cut out for the boning. So there are several methods of covering your or creating your boning channel. You can encase your boning and then stitch, or if you're finding it difficult, you can use this easy method. Go ahead to place ½ inch and stitch, then turn it over and top stitch. Make sure that one side is overlapping the other side so that your boning will not be showing. So I'll also go ahead and use this to create my boning channels. So this is what I have. So what I actually cut out was about 2 inches, so that by the time I sew the boning on it, it's going to cover each side. So here's the placket that I cut out. This is about 5 inches on fold, giving me 2.5. So I'll just go ahead and fold ½ inch here, and I'll be ironing it out. So now for the length, I cut more than the actual length I had on the side, because I don't want to have anything shorter by the side, but I'll be trimming off the excess. So I'm going to go ahead to iron this out. So I forgot to also mention, you're going to be ironing your mesh out, but with a very low steam to avoid burning. So what I'll do now, if you notice I have a center point at this, I'll place my mesh at that center point, meeting at this part. Then I'll go ahead to pin this down. After pinning it down, I'll place the other side meeting at the mesh, and I'll pin it down. So you can also go ahead to chop out the excess, but I'll just leave mine because I prefer it staying inside to avoid when I'm lacing or dragging my pattern for it to tear off from the joining. So I'll go ahead to fold it over this way and pin it down exactly where the other one stopped. So after pinning it down, we are going to be stitching or top stitching on this part of the corset or the lacing area. So now what I'll do is I'll take my tape, I'll mark 5 inch at the end and at the side going inwards, and I'll leave about 0.7 or 1 inch at the center because I'm adding my eyelet. I'll run a top stitch on those lines and recreate the same thing on this other side. So the next thing is you want to wrap up the upper part. So I cut out about 1.5 inches. I'll place it this way, stitch on it with 1/2 inch. Then I will now fold it over and place and top stitch. So I'll be passing a boning at that side. So this is what I have here after sewing. So I'll just go ahead and wrap it over this way, place, and I will top stitch this to the end. So after I'm done top stitching, I will recreate the same thing at the center and also at the other side of the pattern. So moving over, I've gone ahead to do that. So what I'll do is just to go ahead to pass my boning to that side. This is to give structure to the upper part of this corset. So I'll also go ahead to add boning to the center of this corset, and after that I'll also go ahead to add boning to the other side of the corset pattern. So now the next thing I'll do is I'll start inserting boning to the lacing area. So for the lacing area of your corset, you can use a double boning method, especially so that it can hold your lacing bar very well. Like when you lace it, it's going to be firm. So for the boning at the side, I'm using at the lacing area, I'm using 0.5 inches boning. So for the boning at the center of my corset, at the mesh part, I used the smaller size of boning. So you're going to go ahead to pass boning to all your corset, all your boning channels. You can also go ahead to use a double boning method, that is using a plastic boning and a sewable boning for this. But if you're adding a plastic boning to it, just make sure that it doesn't get to the end, especially if you're using this for an inbuilt corset dress that you're going to be putting your skirt on top of the dress, so that when you're sewing the skirt, you can always attach the skirt to the pattern or to the corset. So I'll just go ahead and keep passing my boning, and after passing my boning, we're going to work on the cup area. So I'm going to also use a simple method for the cup area. So for the cup, to avoid wasting time, I'll just go ahead to use the cup I used in drafting the pattern, and I'll mark out. So what I'll do is to add extra 1 inch. I'm supposed to add extra 1/2 inch, but to avoid shortage, I used 1 inch. So whatever excess I have, I'll trace it out after I'm done placing this on the cup. I'll go ahead to iron interfacing on the parts going towards the lining, a gum stay, sorry. So for the back parts going towards the lining area, you can go ahead to iron an stay to it, or you can just join your pattern. So after I'm done joining my cup, I'm going to go ahead to place the right side facing the right side. That is the main fabric and the side going for the lining. I'll place the right side facing each other, and I'll stitch with 1/2 inch at the upper part of the pattern. So after stitching, this is what I have. I'll push the 1/2 inch going towards the lining, and I will top stitch. So this is what I have, and I'll go ahead to place my cup in between. Make sure that the joining on the cup is at the center of the cup. So start dragging your fabric and pin. So this will help you make the fabric to be firm on the cup. So after pinning it out, you're going to stitch on the cup directly, that is you're going to stitch on the cup so that the fabric will be firm on the cup. Then after that, you're going to measure out about 1/2 inch, which you're going to be using to join the cup to the corset, that is the main bodies of the corset. So before going ahead to go and stitch, I'll just cut out the excess. So whatever you're cutting, just make sure you have 1/2 inch after the actual measurement of your cup. So this is what I have. I'll also repeat it on the other side of my pattern, and I'll go ahead to use this 1/2 inch to attach my cup. So this is an easier method of attaching your cup, especially for a beginner. You don't have to go through the stress of going ahead to start caging your cup and the rest. So place it this way and stitch and join it with 1/2 inch to the mesh. So I will go ahead and I will start pinning it to it. So at this point, if you haven't yet subscribed to my YouTube channel, please don't forget to hit on the subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, leave your comment at the comment section, and also if you want to join us on our corset pattern drafting class, go ahead to send us a message. So I'll go ahead to start pinning my cup, and after pinning it, so while pinning it, I noticed that my boning channels were popping out from the boning, my bonings were popping out from the boning channel. So what I'll do is to go ahead to refix the boning. So if you notice on the other side of the corset, I've gone ahead to pipe it out. So what I'll do now is to cut out the excess that I have, that is that 1/2 inch, trim it out a little. So you're going to cut out the same fabric and you're going to attach it as if you're attaching a bias to your dress. You're going to join it in a way as if you're sewing a bias. So just like I said, I had to go ahead to refix my boning, so I'll be doing that much later. So I cut out a strip of this fabric, which is about 1.5 inches. I'll fold the edge, then sew it with 1/2 inch round. Then I'm going to go ahead to fold it down again and place, and I'll top stitch it round my cup. So after that, I'll also cut out about 1.5 or 2 inches of fabric, and I'll use it to turn the lower part of my cup. So I was actually trying to finish up here because there was no time left. So this is the final look of this corset. If you find this tutorial very interesting and educative, please don't forget to hit on the subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, leave your comment at the comment section, and join us in our next video. Thanks.